Hi everybody, it is Monday, October 5th, 2020. JJ here on the BX4. Absolutely ripping stock market today. The Dow Jones up 1.6%, the S&P 1.8%, the Nasdaq 2.3%, the Russell 2000 2.7%. Now the Dow Jones, if you have a few more days like this, is going to be close again near these all-time highs. Remember, we got to about 30,000, just under 30,000 before the shutdown recession hit, before the pandemic. So with days like this market could easily reach the new all-time high before that very important early date in early November rather. Okay, now just to recap for those that are maybe new to this or have not been following this, why do they keep the stock market propped up? Well, pension funds are heavily reliant on the stock market rising. 1 in 3 workers has a 401k that's tied to the stock market. So they're trying to reduce the pain wherever they can in this failed economy, where even before the shutdown you had 70% of people living paycheck to paycheck. So they're masking the pain, but mostly a rising stock market helps the top 10%. If you have been on this channel, you know that the top 10% own about 70% of stocks. So it's a pretty uneven manipulation. It helps the top 10% much more than the bottom 90%. But the powers that be are hoping the trickle down, or let's say the drops from the bucket, are helping the average working citizen. Well, it may help a little bit, but we know it helps the people at the top even more. We have oil notching in a gain at 6%, up to $39.33. Gold up about a half of a percent to $1,918. Silver a 2% gain today, up to $24.52. So what else is going on? Well, we continue to be on the verge of an economic disaster. The only thing preventing massive foreclosures and homelessness is already bad. It's horrible, especially here in California. But the only thing preventing it from becoming probably 50 times worse than what it is now is all of the stimulus, the moratoriums, the preventing of the evictions and foreclosures. And this is the intervention that we talk about. The intervention is going to have to grow larger and larger and larger in order to prevent a massive meltdown in homelessness epidemic. All right, but again, I want to make sure we're clear. There is a homeless epidemic already. Even with all of this assistance and intervention, we are still seeing increases in homelessness, increases in food lines, increases in dependency on the system, and free handouts. So imagine what it would be like if the government wasn't there to try to keep this failed system propped up. This economic system failed a long time ago. It was only through debt and lending and pretending that they were able to keep the appearance of a good economy. And of course, flawed numbers, manipulated numbers, cherry-picked numbers play a big part in that theatrics as well. But let's get into some recent news here. Out of CNBC, our good friends over at the IMF, they say millions of new jobs could be created if government spends more. Well, think about what they're saying here. They're saying is the government, all they have to do is spend more to create new jobs. So why has the government not just printed enough money out of thin air to have everyone have a job? There should be zero unemployment, right? If it's as simple as printing money out of nothing and spending more, you can do infrastructure projects. You can have just send out checks to households, $10,000 a month. Remember, this unlimited currency they can create out of thin air. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by a transferable commodity. So yes, they can create as much money as they want to. They've even said it out of their own mouths. They said we're going to support these markets, unlimited, whatever it takes. So if you don't believe me, just listen to the words that come out of the mouths of these bankers, right? So again, if it was just as simple as printing money and spending more out of the government, then why is there anyone unemployed? They should just keep on spending, create endless digits out of nothing, type them up on a screen, put the money out there in the economy, give money to people, $10,000 a month, 20,000 UBI. That'll give people more spending money. The more people spend, the more jobs will be created because there'll be more demand. You see what I'm getting at here? So this article right here just doesn't make sense, right? Printing money and spending money may appear to make the economy look good, and it may create jobs in the short term. But what happens in the long term when the debt gets too much for people to handle? Well, you see what we have now. You have people, even after only 1 or 2 missed paychecks going back to March at the beginning of the shutdown, they were already begging for their bank to forgive their loans. They were begging landlords to forgive their rents. And then, of course, laws were passed and bills were implemented to help these people out. But you see, the more debt you create and the more you artificially prop up this economy, well, eventually the currency is going to fail. Now, let's talk about a currency that has basically failed. Let's talk about Venezuela. All right, recent article here out of Bloomberg. Venezuela planning a new $100,000 bolivar, and it's just worth 23 cents in US dollars. Okay, and it doesn't mean that the dollar is going to have the same fate anytime soon. The dollar could still hang in there for a while. Nobody knows how long. But you see these smaller countries, you see it's happening, right? And of course the US dollar, it's the big kahuna. It's the world's reserve currency, so it's going to be the last to fall. But when you start creating endless amounts of money, you know that the fate is going to be the same eventually. It's going to be the last to fall when it comes to fiat currencies, but it will fall. Fiat currencies always fail. They always have, they always will. It's just a matter of when. Well, let's talk about the gold price. We saw gold notch a nice gain today, coming in at about $1,918. Another forecast for $10,000 gold. What are they saying and why? Excerpt out of this article. The fundamental picture for precious metals has never been better. Governments worldwide have committed to suppressing interest rates and printing money to solve their debt problems. Eventually, they will be forced to default or devalue. It's that simple, right? So we've seen these predictions before. It doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year, but it is going to happen. We see the steady climb in gold and metals and silver. We're seeing a steady uptrend. Yes, there's going to be pullbacks, but when you see metals start to do this stair step higher, it's a steady rise, and there's still time to get in. If you're buying the dips, I got a link down below, SD Bullion. That's where I get my silver. I feel, and this is just my opinion, I feel like eventually when the dollar fails, or when the fear gets too much, when people lose confidence, right? Because eventually people are going to start scratching their heads and saying, hey, how can they continue to print unlimited money out of thin air, right? Not everyone's becoming aware. Not everyone's going to wake up. But eventually there's going to be a major loss of confidence, and it's already happened to a large degree. And we're going to have to go back to some sort of asset-backed currency. And it could be digital, meaning the transactions will take place on your phone or in a digital form, but the amount of money that's in the economy is going to need to be tied to an asset. And precious metals, in my opinion, are going to be where it's at. We're going to see major transformations in this economic system. Okay? And keep in mind, I'm not making any predictions here in the near term. I'm just giving you my opinion on the long-term situation. They could come out with a massive debt forgiveness program and eliminate, trillions of dollars of debt. Do I think they're going to do that? No, but technically they could. All they have to do is push a few buttons, zero out the balances. Look what they did up in Canada. I think we reported that last year. They eliminated everyone's credit card debt for a particular card. I believe it was Chase. All right. Also, I should mention the implementation of this new monetary system could take a turn for the worse. If it's not backed by metals, they could just roll out a Fed dollar, which is going to be a much more controlled fiat currency, and everything's going to be done directly through the Fed. So they'll have ultimate control over the spending. They could put expiration dates on the when you have to spend the money, and a lot more hellish type of Big Brother oversight on how we spend our money, how we live our lives. So hopefully it'll take a turn for the better after this economic collapse is allowed to play out. I think it's coming up very, very soon. We've got 3 months left in 2020, and I think after 2020, there's going to be a lot of big surprises. And I think actually between now and the end of the year, expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. I mean, if you went back and in 2019 went back and told somebody what was going to happen this year in 2020 with the sickness, the lockdowns, the disasters, the unrest, all of the above. I mean, people probably would not have believed you, but believe me, expect the unexpected going forward. Prepare, get ready. Things are going to be a lot worse. Think about security, protecting your assets, protecting yourself. There's a lot of bad people in this country, and I think the curtain's being pulled back now. We see a lot of things happening. Just be careful out there, be safe, stay well. Thank you for watching. Peace.